Hi everyone, it's Loretta. I have a share for you. I am about to show you the process video of how I made this Valentine's Day card. It is for an online swap and it is due the 18th, so I'm pushing it a little bit with this one. But I was waiting for the stamps to come in. The stamps and dies were ordered from Simon Says Stamps. They are from Lawn Fawn and Penny Black respectively. And the seed beads that you will see at the process video are actually from Stampin' Up. They have been retired a long time. I don't think that they make them anymore. This is the topper that is going to go on each of the cards, and these will get packaged up together and go postal tomorrow. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks for joining me. Please rate, comment, and subscribe to my videos. Don't forget to leave them a thumbs up. Have a great day. Stamp happy. Be a blessing. Bye. For this project, you're going to need some cardstock. The cardstock I am using today is from My Favorite Things. It is cut to 5.5 by 4.5 when it's folded, so it measures A2, and that's basically a piece of cardstock cut in half. The layers on this piece are very simple. They are 5.25 by 4 inches for both the top and bottom piece of this shaker. The dies that you're going to see me line up and use here are from Simon Says Stamp, and they are part of their Valentine's Day, I guess, February release. I just purchased these recently and they came in the mail yesterday. This swap, as I mentioned in the introductory voiceover, is due on the 18th, so I really need to get these finished up, get this video posted, and get them actually in the mail. Now, when you're lining these dies up for each of those card fronts, you're going to want to use some washi tape or some removable post-it tape, something like that. And then after I cut all of those hearts, which I saved, some of which you're going to see in the packaging of this project, but they're fun, and once those are cut out, you can just be repetitive. I actually ran this through an embossing folder that I've had in my stash for a long time. I used a piece of transparency to make the shaker portion, and I only wanted that middle part to have the shaker element because I didn't have that many seed beads, and I wanted this to be very sweet and feminine. So I didn't want something real bulky in those shaker pieces. Now I did use my Scotch 3M tape to make the shakers. I first went over the area where the middle is, and then I used scraps to fill in all the sides so that it was evenly popped up, so that when it was put together, it looked nice from the side as well as from the top. The green cardstock is stamped with some stamps from my collections. I used a random up and down type pattern to stamp those. I'm using Versamark ink today, which is a sticky ink, and it's actually refillable, so it will last you forever if you take care of it, and even if yours looks like mine, which is kind of icky, they still work. Just because you spill stuff on them or you cross-contaminate them with a different color, they're pretty forgiving. I haven't had one yet that has caused me any trouble, and I've owned a couple. I usually have one in my crop bag for when I go to stamping events, and of course I always have one on my desk. Sharp scissors are a really good thing to have in your stash, as well as that paper trimmer you saw earlier for cutting pieces out. Once you get all of the layering pieces ready and popped up, you're going to add those seed beads. These little things went everywhere. If I were to ever do this again, I would use a coffee filter. Coffee filters are one of a crafter's best friends, especially if you do any embossing, you do any type of shaker cards. It's wonderful because if you work over that coffee filter, any of those small beads that you're using, if they fall, they're going to fall directly into that coffee filter, and the little fibers keep them from coming back out until you want them to. So you're just going to funnel this back into their container later on, and I wish I had done it. So when you're embossing these panels for the card, you're going to want to use a sandbag or an embossing buddy of some kind, an anti-static bag or anti-static tool, because this paper does pick up quite a bit of static, especially this time of the year. I think that I am a walking static producer. Once you get all those stamps, you're going to want to use a little bit of embossing powder. I keep my embossing powders in these large Ziploc type baggies, and so once they're stamped, I will dunk those into the embossing powder and flick off the excess and heat set those. When you are heat setting any image, you want to be sure that your heat tool has been preheated, so to speak. Just turn it on and let it run for 10-20 seconds, and then it's nice and hot. This will ensure that that embossing powder not only melts evenly, but it will melt quite quickly as well. I decided not to put in the footage of me melting embossing powder. For one thing, I hate the sound of that, and trying to mute the sound and make sure that it's not so rhetorical that it would bore everyone to death. So here you see me. I just took off the backing for that Scotch 3M adhesive, and I put in the seed beads. Now I'm going to apply that back panel to where I put the seed beads and the pop dots, or in this case Scotch 3M adhesive. I'm going to give that a shake to make sure it is moving well. I'm now going to be taking my bone folder and burnishing the whole thing down to make sure that it's made contact and those seed beads aren't going anywhere. I'm going to use my glue applicator. Mine is from Glue Glider Pro, and apply some adhesive to the back of that panel and apply it to my card. Once again, this is an A2 card that measures 5.5 by 4 1/4 once it's folded. I'm going to make sure that that gets lined up just the way I want it and glue that down. Next, I'm using an image from Penny Black. This sweet little hedgehog is so much fun to color. He's very small, maybe 2.5 inches by 1.5 inches. I used my nesting circles to stamp that down, and the paper is Express It. Of course, I'm using Copic markers to color this little guy. The Copic markers I used for my image today are BG10, C2, E50, YG06, C5, R05, E11, BV0000, and R27. This image is so small, like I just stated, that you don't have to do a whole lot of blending. He's just so sweet. I really had a good time coloring this little guy. So as you're going along, you may also want to grab a colorless blender pen, so that if you do in fact make any mistakes, then you are good to go and you can just pull those back out of your cardstock. I was lucky that when I made mine today, I didn't have any that I had colored outside of the lines. I'm not a perfect colorer by any means. I love it, and I think that every time I pick up a Copic, I learn something new, and I do something new. Just the way that these markers react with the paper and their permanence is something I love. The die cut is from Lawn Fawn. You see me applying that with glue. So here you have the finished card. I'm going to insert a video, I'm going to insert some pictures at the end of this video. Stamp happy, be a blessing. Bye for now.